don't know so much about Shakespeare, but there's two plays of Shakespeare's that I studied at O level that I've like read a couple of times, been through a couple of times. So it's like, and then got marked up and wrote essays about being Macbeth and being Romeo and Juliet. Fantastic stories. It's like these are the most, some of the there's a reason why these are classics and people go, oh, because it's like that Macbeth. It's like, I'm at the stage now where, with this thing where they're trying to use this nice little spell of weather we're having, which is a coming together of a few things, you know what I mean? A few cycles all work together, and we're getting warm air from this place and we're getting sunshine from the sun. It's like, red alert. And I'm like, scientists, it's like the same people who are selling you climate catastrophe, who are catastrophizers, they're doomers. Now we're getting this, the hot weather. And I got wind of this, I got an inkling of this, that this is what was going to happen in 2020. Before they got COVID, they were going to play this, let's commandeer the weather. I'd actually been foreshadowing it on my channel, saying it's like, at one time they used to like sacrifice their children to appease the gods of the weather. It's like, well, they gave up doing that and now they just use the weather to trick people. It's like they adapted it. It's like they became clever enough to adapt it and then to be able to then use the sky and the weather, the sky as a weapon against you. It's where these guys who discovered that chemtrail thing, I'm like, you've missed it completely. You think we're being sprayed? I'm like, no, do you not get it? It's like someone was so clever that they were able to make it so the sky could fuck with you. They weaponized the sky against you. So you're looking up and you're seeing this haze in the sky and you're saying, they're spraying us with chemicals. It's like, chemicals like what? It's like, it's not going to fucking kill you, regardless of what it is. It's like shit. It's like, you'd suffer worse from walking down a busy road in fumes than you would whatever they're spraying. And it's a matter of that, I'm like, condensation, that. It says we don't know the temperature up there. It's like usually down at the ground level, it's a lot warmer than it is up top. It's like it might be freezing up there, that air, and when that superheated jet goes through it, it might turn it over, attract a load of water vapour. I'm like, do I know enough about the weather and the atmosphere to say that that's definitely not aeroplane contrails? And the answer is no, I don't. But I can appreciate, so it's moot, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not for me to go mouthing off about it. I don't know enough to handle objections to it. I'm not selling something that someone can come back as to say, well, what is the temperature up at like 50,000 feet? Should we go and find out? And be like, oh shit. Somebody can make a case as to say, there's doubt about your conspiracy theory. I'm like, but you missed the point. Someone was able to weaponize the sky in your imagination and use it as a weapon to gaslight you, in essence, fuck with your day, possibly even fuck with you the second you open your eyes in the morning and look out a window. They've been around again spraying us. It's like, if you believe in that, what else might you believe in? Same with that flat earth, I see that as well. What else might you believe in? And then you get people like that, right? Who are, as they say, conspiracy minded. And they'll lay on you what a load of problems are, right? And the problems won't be real problems. They'll be global problems. They'll be globalist sort of problems, things that we can't fix. And all of them impossible to prove wrong. Operating in that space as there's no one really knows, so we can say any story we fucking like. And because of the nature of humans, right, we've got these blank spots in our vision before we were born and after we're dead. And we're a funny old beastie that doesn't want to die. Although we don't know what comes beyond, but we know we don't want to die. So it's like we live with that contradiction as part of being mortal. So it's like, where are the best places? What are the things you can manipulate the easiest? Well, the past and the future. How can you best manipulate someone and turn them into let's say a open-minded sort of person who can be dragged down all kinds of fucking rabbit holes and trapped in stupidity? You operate in that space of things that cannot be unproven but are possible based on what we know. So it's like, if you can always make everything about that, right? You're asking people to prove something wrong that's impossible to prove, which is I think that's the malfunction that everyone feels when people get that trans thing thrown at them. When I identify as a woman, so well, I've only got your word for it, and you're telling us we have to take your word for it, right? Whereas, right, I could walk into a crowded room, start hollering and screaming, shouting, and call out the world to say, I am risen. And lay claim to this land and say, it's mine, I've come back to claim it, right? What? And they would lock me up for it. What's the difference? This is the thing I get at. It's like this place of can't be unproven. And in some cases, we have to take this man's word for it. But in other cases, we don't. When we're talking about exactly the same game and phenomenon. This, right, is magic. People who operate in that unprovable space, they're magicians, they're sorcerers. Throws down, I am a witch. And it's a title now that's ever so similar in the way that witches operate as throwing down that you're a scientist. What, John? So yeah, getting back to Macbeth. How does Macbeth start? Is it double bubble? Toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble? Fillet of a fenny snake? In the cauldron, boil and bake, while they're stirring the shit. Predicting what? War, death, destruction, opportunity, power. They come up with a bullshit story that a superstitious guy gets wind of, his wife finds out about. It's just like, if you kill the king, you can seize the throne. And she's like, do it. And when he does it, she can't live with it. Kills herself. Like what? It's like, how did this start? How did this whole clusterfuck start? Superstitious people. Stupid. No real connection to the Almighty God. Corrupt people. Don't know what's right and wrong, but, you know, for that feeling of being the fucking man, they would fly in the face of it and lie. And decide that's what they're going to do. And decide to do it, and then do it, and then do it, and then find they cannot live with what they did, and therefore must die. It's like witches stirring the shit around a pot over like 1,000 years ago. It's like, what's so different now? These fucking climate alarmists making predictions of world-ending doom and catastrophe. And they've been endlessly making predictions about this since about 1970. What? Yeah, they just keep changing their story. So I say to folk on the internet as to where all of a sudden it would become clear as to where I might be helpful. Like, when might you be helpful? When other people work out that they're actually dealing with shit-stirring witches who are operating in this unknowable space. Once you work that out, it'll be... Who was that fella who said that he had some hints and tips for us in dealing with like demonic shit and witches? It's like, oh fuck. Funny old game. It's a funny old game. It's like, I'm a practical man. I don't believe in hocus pocus, but there are those who do, and I understand them. There are those who do. And then it's like, I don't think I'm a one-off. What? Yeah. It's like there's people who know what I know out in the world, operating and using it to their advantage. And as omnipotent as I am, but not as based. So it's like, if you think there's crazy and dangerous people, if you don't think there's crazy and dangerous people in high places in this world, wicked people, and the way it ends up being wicked is that they don't set out to kill millions, but when their plans are set in motion, the market does it for them. They pervert the machine, and the machine does it for them, and then when millions die, they can blame the machine that they tampered with. Well, yes, we tampered with the machine, but it was the machine that killed all those people, not us. We feel terribly sorry. That is evil. Now, if you understand evil as being a grinding machine that rips people up and spits them out and then doesn't think twice about it and moves on, you need to think about it more. That's the evil that most of us face, is to have been ground up and abandoned. And the damage been done to us, disavowed. That's evil. Leaving people out in the cold to die, that's evil. Letting people starve to death and then just say, let's just not talk about it, shall we? The dead don't speak. As long as we don't breathe life into them, no one will say nothing. There's that too. There's people who think that right? There's people out in the world who think they run it, right? Who actually believe what we don't know won't hurt us. And then it does, because that's terrible advice. That's the thinking of someone who's looking to justify themselves and hide things and live in secret. What they don't know won't hurt them. And then it does, and they have to pretend like it's a surprise. Now we see that just bare these days, where some guy gets banged up for like rape, yeah? And he's a criminal, vicious psychopath who will tell any lie and play any part to get what he wants. So he decides to pull out the trans card and gets himself sent to a woman's prison. And it's like, whole world screams. What could possibly go wrong? And then it's dismissed and called transphobic. And then they have to move the guy out of the prison because he's got 2 of the prisoners pregnant. What? And then the bravest, the trans lobby, are silent. Absolutely silent. They pretend that that didn't happen and in future would do exactly the same thing again. I just read an article in the Breitbart about Fallon Fox. Remember Fallon Fox? Fallon Fox is a man who found a legal way of doing severe harm to women because he enjoys it. A transgender MMA fighter who fractured someone's skull, viciously overpowered and destroyed them. You can go and watch the fight if you can stomach that kind of thing. And then came back with the accusing his opponents of being transphobic and whooping them. Turfs. These were turfs. They deserved it. I enjoyed beating them. I enjoyed beating them up, hurting them. And the BBC made him her vicious thug who's playing some sick games. Vicious thug. See, that's a non-gendered term, vicious thug. The BBC invite vicious thug as a champion of trans rights and activism. Shines light on them. And they've been criticised for it. And the way the BBC have dealt with it, it's like either the people who research for them are so fucking woke, they gave this person the benefit of the doubt as to being, be a good guest, a hero of the movement. Refused to believe all the things that Vicious Thug, had been quoted as having said, and didn't go away to find out for themselves. They just either chose to disbelieve it or completely ignored the fact that in certain circles, Fallon Fox is a despicable psychopath, would-be dangerous fucking killer. Dangerous, extremely dangerous to women. Oh. BBC, taxpayers' money funded, gave Vicious Thug a platform. And it's like, what a fucking world we live in now. It's like, it's gone so far now, beyond the point when I said no more of this, I ain't putting up with this fucking shit. And that was in this being able to pull something from out of your arse, and you then being asked to disprove like someone throwing God at you, and you can't disprove or prove the existence of, because it's relative, right? Same thing. It's like people pulling things out of their arse, like lies. Outright lies are really important, really difficult to refute, because nothing fucking happened. It's hard to prove nothing happened when someone said it did. It's easy to lie about people, easy to smear people. Just come up with a fucking story, cut it out of old cloth, and if it's a believable story, it seems to get printed. Or if it's believable, and then no one knows this fucking person. And that would just be, another branch of cleverness. But it's like that branch of cleverness is fucking destroying our culture and our society. I saw it a long time ago. It was, so you flat out lie about me. I've got no witnesses to any of it. Nothing. The victim's actually on my side saying, what the fuck are you talking about? And you know, as evidence goes, it's like good enough evidence to go on your permanent record with personnel and stuff like that. It's good enough evidence for that. It'd never hold up in a court of law anywhere. But it'll hold up in the disciplinary committee room at your employer that someone flat out lies. It'll hold up. The allegation itself is enough for action to be taken. Excuse me? It's like when it hits you, and it's just evil. It's not to do with it's not to do with the current woke situation. This is evil people who reach for weapons. I got touched a few times in a row by hidden scum. Vicious people who can't fucking do nothing but they can reach for weapons. They can lie about you and set institutions on you. It's just evil things that evil scumbags do. And it's like, once you've been touched by evil and you've had that done to you, right? There's no turning back from it. It's got you then. You're like, the motherfuckers. Funny way, if you're not wise enough, you bring more betrayal upon yourself. Because you start to see it more. You're wiser to it. It's like, you people fucking with me. You might be wrong, but you might be right too. Fucks the world up for you. You've got to watch it. You can turn the whole world into shitholes. You're like, there's fucking lying fucking scumbag arseholes everywhere, right? And sometimes you're bringing them all with you. You're projecting that onto them. Because of your woundedness. Not understanding your part in it, that. And it's being a coward as well. It's like you lost the game because you didn't realise there was a game being played, right? So you just lost. You didn't know there was a game. So you turn up and then it's like, sorry, you've lost the game. Empty your desk. Excuse me? Yes, you lost the game. Right, there was a game. It started months ago. And you didn't realise it was being played, so you lost. And away you go. That kind of game. So it's like once you've had that played on you, you almost automatically become a player yourself. You've no excuse not to be aware of the various games that get played. Now, I see it, whipping something from out your ass. I do see it as a kind of a form of witchcraft. You've just made something out of magic. There's something that Nietzsche said once that I always remember. The one that when people talk about that guy, it's like he said this and he said this and he said this. The one that I carry with me of him is a quote of his. Because I am a simple man. The quote of his, that something doesn't have to be real to have a real effect. Lie about someone and set the wheels in motion. Convince the first person you convince of your story become your agent or advocate. If you can convince that first person of your story and turn them into the zealot of your story, right? It'll be they who persecute. It's not nature. It's the way it works. It's like going telling your brother you've been beaten up and he makes a case of it and he ends up going to war for you. It's like exploit that. Exploit what is, in some regards, the best thing about humans. That they will protect each other. Use that as a weapon. Let's play into that part of human nature. I see it. And then when the woke came along, I'm like, they've made the world a better place for the people who play games like that. And they must be laughing their asses off as to they've now come to power. You've written laws that say all they have to do is say they are this, and they have got special protections and privileges, and can drag people into law courts where lies are as good as truth, being civil courts. No evidence required other than my feelings about what you did or said. It could be twisted in 1,000 ways and based on pure projection or even hatred. Flat out hatred. Blind bigotry hatred. And it's you who's committed the foul because you haven't got any protection. You can be provoked, answer back, and get in trouble. You see, I've had that game played with me, gotcha, since I was about 5. Now, games people play to sharpen the mind. Well, a game that's been played about with me is certainly gotcha. Be provoked into a reaction and then punished for the reaction. I've been picked on. I've been proper bullied. But I've been proper bullied by adults. Find an excuse to punish you by provoking you. As far as I'm concerned, that's not just child abuse, that's just flat out abuse. It's not like, that's child abuse. And so, no, you can do it to adults and it's just flat out abuse. It's just what psychos do to fucking grind someone down. You provoke. You get a reaction and then you say, look what he just did. And that's the only tactic that this new group have had to learn. They only need the one tactic because it always works. One tactic. So you've got a kind of person who, if they win all the time with one tactic, they'll never change tactics. Because they're being allowed to win with just one tactic, with just one trick. So you got to think bigger, and you got to think about how to adapt to that one tactic, and then force them into another one. Make them change their game. It hasn't happened. Not happened in my lifetime. The same game works. Magic something from out of your fucking ass and smear someone and then set the institutions on them. It works. There's nowhere past it. So we have to find one. I've a few ideas.